And like people change and evolve and grow.
Yes.
And I feel like the brand is going to change and evolve and grow as we do as people. And so I think being open to that, just being open to like things should grow and things should change.
Yes.
And so it's kind of beautiful to look back and be like, this is where we started and this is where we are.
It totally is. And there's so much power in seeing something grow.
Welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. In this show, we're getting real about navigating the ups and downs of life together. I'm your host, Erin, and we're ditching the pressure to have it all figured out along the way because honestly, nobody does. We'll explore all things healing, growing, creating, and connecting. And if you deal with anxiety, depression, being a highly sensitive person, or just feeling overwhelmed by life sometimes, I see you, and this show is for you. My intention with these conversations is simple: to leave you feeling empowered, validated, and most importantly, reminded that you are never alone, no matter where you're at on your own journey. Learning that we all have the power to heal genuinely changed my life. And the best part, healing does not have to be complicated. The smallest changes really can make the biggest impact, and it can be joyful, fulfilling, and something that we do together. So join me in getting real about what it means to heal. Thank you for being here, and now let's get into it.
Hello, and welcome to Ebbs and Flows with Erin, or welcome back to Ebbs and Flows with Erin. Today, I am so excited and grateful to have you listening or watching, as we have two exciting firsts happening on the podcast. We are here in Cancun, Mexico, and I have my first guest of the podcast, and not only a guest, but one of my best friends, and I'm so excited to talk to her today about her business, Ballia, which she co-founded with her husband, Raymar. It is an all-natural, cruelty-free skincare company that serves to create self-love moments, and it is genuinely my favorite body care product, and I'm not just saying that as one of her friends. And I cannot wait to get into it and just talk all things healing, growing, creating, and connecting. So welcome, Summer.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. This is just such a surreal experience for me too, because not only are you one of my best friends, but you created a podcast that I also genuinely am a fan of. And like being here is kind of a dream come true moment. Like, honestly, I feel like this is something that has been on my vision board mentally for years. Like even before we knew what we were going to start, I just pictured being in this spot. So being here is amazing in itself, but being here with you, that's what I did not know was going to happen. I love that.
That makes me so happy. And I also agree. I'm like, I don't know what exactly I envisioned, but I knew I wanted to somehow just even foster more connection with friends, like deeper connection. And this is crazy. I didn't know what my podcast would look like with guests, but I'm like, wait a second. I have such talented friends. And especially I kind of always had in the back of my head you. And I was like, my first podcast guest, I feel like should be Summer. We have a lot of similar interests, I feel like, in this realm. And I genuinely, like I said, love your product and your brand. And I'm so excited to talk about it.
Me too. And you're so right. Like us, even just our conversations, like I feel like when we do text, it's like paragraphs and it's always like about these topics. So it seems just like such a natural thing to come about.
Why not record it? Okay, so do you want to tell us a little bit about Ballia and your why behind creating it, or what drew you to starting this business?
Yeah, so we honestly, the creation of the product and the business and the brand all came together from these like different breadcrumbs, I guess I'll say. The product itself was something that I like genuinely needed. And a few things, like I always wanted to have a business or start something. And one of the things was I don't want to just create another like item that goes out into the world. And like I wanted something that was going to bring value, and like what am I creating and bringing to the world that's going to make it better. Like I don't want to just have something and like put it out there and just contribute to like, you know, all the, I'll say like waste in the world.
Totally.
Like what can I create and bring that actually has meaning behind it? So the product was something that I genuinely needed. And it actually started from Raymar, my husband and now business partner, which I was thinking about this morning. And I was like, we really went in deep because we started this business, well, the initial idea of it before we were even engaged.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
did not know this.
Yeah, we did. And I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, like we just went in deep. We went right into business. And
Business or marriage? Which one ties you together more?
and so I have to give him credit because the initial idea was actually his.
Oh my gosh.
And so it was something that I was looking for, like a product that would, so I guess, sorry, back up. The oil itself is designed to treat ingrown hairs, will prevent ingrown hairs, red bumps, razor burn, things like that after shaving. And so that was something that I've always struggled with. So I myself was looking for that product, which there are a few brands that do something similar. But when I had found it, Raymar started looking at the ingredients, and he is just such a research guy. Like, we know this.
Yes.
We know this. He immediately is on Google looking up all these different ingredients. And that was probably the birthing point of everything that is today. Because then over the next months, he would just send me ingredient ideas. He would just be like, have you tried this? Have you heard of jojoba oil? Like just over, it just never left his brain, the idea of it. And so we just kind of started like a notes in our notes app, like a note where we would just like put ingredient ideas. And I still have that note to this day. It's like 100 miles long because we just keep adding things to it for like future ideas too.
Wow.
But yeah, so that was like what got the ball rolling. And then I think it was probably honestly like a year, if not more after that, when we actually sat down and we're like, okay, let's try this. Like, let's try to make this. And so that's kind of where the product came for. And then the brand, it just so happened at that time, I was also going through a little bit of a self-care journey of like rediscovering what it was to take care of myself and how that really contributes to like feeling good inside, outside, self-confidence, like that whole, how those things are all kind of connected. And so that's where I got the inspiration of like, okay, let's make this product. And it's something that helps with self-confidence, you know, like that whole, if you are someone who experiences those things, you know.
Yes.
You
And
know?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
And it, like I said, I keep saying, I'm like, genuinely, this product, I'm able to shave. And I just want to point out, it is called bikini oil, but I use it everywhere. I know lots of people do, right? Like face, armpits, wherever. I've been using it on my sunburns while we've been on this trip. And I have really sensitive skin. I'm a highly sensitive person, which I believe we can relate on that note, inside and out. And I always struggled with razor burn. And like you said, the confidence factor, like you don't want to be in a bikini because you're just wondering like, oh, can everyone see these red bumps around wherever? And, this product genuinely helps with that. And when you were talking about how you didn't want to just put anything out there, I really feel like, and especially when you look at your social media or your website, you can tell like it's not just a body oil. It's created for a reason to make you feel comfortable and confident in your skin. So I feel like making money, you can feel the vibe that that was not your intent with putting this product out. It wasn't just to, of course, you always hope to make money in business. It is business after all. But yeah, you can really feel that there's just such a drive and a personal mission behind creating the product.
Oh,
And that's
I'm
what I
so
love.
glad that that comes through because that's what's been interesting is I'm like, how do we communicate this? Because I really want to build like a community. Like that's the coolest part is like I'm putting this out there and I'm trying to reach other women who are like just like me.
Yeah.
Like I am the customer
Yes,
as well.
you're your ideal client, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I want to just build like my dream is to have a community of like, I mean, it's not just for women, like men can use it as well, but it just, you know, being a woman, I'm wanting to build a community of women who are all just really supportive and uplifting. Cause I feel like that's like the friend group that we have.
Totally.
And that is what makes, I don't know, it makes me happy. Like making other people feel like good and confident makes me really happy.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like, I guess this this is a light bulb moment actually. But on some level, like that's what I feel like I have with my like close personal relationships. And I'm kind of I want to take that out and expand it to as many people as possible.
That makes so much sense now that you say that.
Yeah, it just clicked for me too.
I can kind of relate to that with even like Ebbs and Flows. Like now that you say that, we're having a light bulb moment. But I'm like, I do feel such deep support and connection with our close girlfriends. And yeah, it's just that yearning to almost just want to spread it around the world because you know how good it feels and that everyone I believe deserves it. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love that so much.
Yeah, it's all making sense.
And so you mentioned Raymar. Well, I knew that it obviously has been a joint venture this whole time. I did not realize how much of the catalyst he was for this.
Yeah, he really was. And I always like need to give him credit because I think I've become a little bit more the face of the brand, but he has brought so much to the table and he really was the push behind, you know, like, let's do this.
That is so amazing. I feel like that's so rare to hear of a husband. Well, this might sound so bad, but a husband like paying that much attention and care and support of wanting to create something that just makes you feel more comfortable. Like he actually was seeing a struggle you had. And not only was he wanting to make it better, he was like literally researching how.
That's his personality in a nutshell.
We love Raymar. We love Raymar. He is like the group father, friend, supporter, babysitter.
He's the guy. Like, yeah, if we need something done, I'll be like Raymar and he's on it. Yeah, yes. He will make it happen. He will figure it out. So.
Yes, we shout out Raymar.
Yeah.
I love that so much. So how long have you had Ballia? Or how long has it been conceptualized into a product / when did you mentioned that for a long time you had that notes app. So what year was it when you finally made the decision, okay, let's take the first step to creating this as a business?
Yes, good question. Because it was such I feel like the only way to describe it was a breadcrumb process. Mm-hmm. But yes, we officially reached out to our chemist to help formulate the product in 2021. Of May. So that, in my mind, that is kind of like where it really started, because everything before that, we were trying to figure it out. And a lot of business is just trying to figure it out.
Yes. Yeah.
We're absolutely still trying to figure it out.
In the process of figuring it out. It's not life.
Yeah.
That's life.
But we really one of the first things we discovered is that when you are creating a product, you can kind of do two different ways, and there's no right way or wrong way. But one way would be basically, you know, you go and you search for a product that exists and then you kind of put your branding behind it. Mm-hmm. Or the other way is to essentially make it from scratch. So you're creating your own formula that is yours uniquely. And we immediately knew that's what we wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Because we just wanted so many specific things going into it. And like I said, I wanted to be so intentional about what I was creating, what we were creating. So that was, I think, that was the first step of where we actually formulated our product. And that was in 2021.
That's so wild to think about. I almost, on one hand, it feels like you've had this for forever. Like it does. On the other, it's like, wow, it feels like yesterday.
I know it does. Time. And that's what's crazy is like, there's so much ahead too. Yes. Like there's so much we want to do. And I try not to get ahead of ourselves because I'm like, we need to focus.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm excited for what we want to keep creating.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're so proud of it. Like I still have moments where like even today when we were on our way up here, I was holding the packaging and I was just looking at it. I was like, wow, like we did this.
Yes.
Like I feel like you have to take those moments to give yourself the props and of how far we've come, even though there's still so much we want to do.
Yeah. It's probably so much like, okay, make this decision, keep building. But you have to remind yourself to like stay present in the moments of celebrating big wins, small wins, baby steps, big steps.
Yes.
I imagine in a product-based business, like you said, there's so much forward thinking and like looking to the future. Mm-hmm. But I'm so glad that something like this can, like, I feel for myself, this is insane. Like as I'm even sitting here talking to you, staring at you with this microphone, I'm like, how did we get here? How did I get here? Anyways, not enough about me.
No, honestly, like I know exactly what you mean. And we actually so last weekend was our 1 year since we officially launched our product on our website.
It was crazy.
So we were working on it, I guess 2021, 22, 23. So for 3 years we were working on it and then launched it into the world. So like that was just a year ago. So even though we've been working on it for a long time, it is so new and fresh. It's only been like a year that it's actually been out there.
Yeah, you probably have to stop and remind yourself like, okay, the public has only had access to this for this amount of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what's it's like, holy, it's been a year, but at the same time, it flew by. But we have like, we learned a lot in that year.
Yeah.
And I'm just also reminding ourselves to like give ourselves grace because I think that's the thing too. Like the whole, message that we want to push out is to like take care of yourself because it is so important. And it's funny because like I will even have to remind myself of that because I'm sure like that when you are the one running the business, that gets lost very quickly.
Yes. You almost have, you can quickly have to check yourself and be like, okay, practice what you're preaching. Like, and I find too, a lot of the messages you're putting out there, sometimes it's a message you need to hear yourself. And that's another reason for putting it out. You're serving your client, but like you said, you're also your own client.
100%. And I actually, like throughout that journey over the last year, kind of did lose that a little bit for myself. Like the prioritizing my own self-care, like being so lost in trying to convince other people that I kind of put myself on the back burner a little bit. So I think now, like I said, that we're a year in, it's kind of like things are settling and I'm trying to get back to that for myself so that I can show up and be the best. Yeah. And like genuinely be putting that out there, knowing that I'm doing that still for myself.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. And it ebbs and flows. Every time I say that now, I'm like kind of laugh at myself, but I feel like it'll ebb and flow naturally with life and the stages you're in of your business. But as long as you can come back to it, I feel like that's always going to show in your business and your product. And it's authentic because no one is, at least I believe or feel from what I've learned in my journey, is you're not 100% on your exact self-care schedule 24/7. Like that's just not realistic. But as long as you can be aware, I feel like awareness is the biggest thing. And the fact that only 1 year in, you've already caught yourself, like kind of getting ahead of yourself and losing at yourself. I feel like that's impressive in itself. I think some people could probably get lost for a lot longer.
True. And can I just say how much I love the name Ebbs and Flows? Because and like you said, I will think about that often. Like if I'm waking up and I'm not having the best day, I'll be like, today is just an ebb.
Oh, tomorrow we flow. Thank you so much. I love that. Sometimes I get in my head, I'm like, is that annoying to people? Because if I've shared the name or if they listen or watch or know about the brand, I'm like, is it annoying now? Because it can naturally come up, or are they like, oh my God, Ebbs and Flows, like annoying. But I think it inspired me just one day because I got frustrated seeing so much content, especially on social media, of portraying that everything is either perfect all the time or bad all the time, like it's black or white. And I was just like, everything ebbs and flows. Like there needs to be discussion about the fact that it's okay for there to be a gray area, and no matter of how much you're in an ebb, you will flow again, and vice versa. And that's okay. And that's life. So.
And I'm so grateful that we are growing up in this era where that is becoming more normalized.
Yes.
Because I feel like I saw that change happening. Like as I was starting to get into, okay, I'm going to start a business. It was like changing from that hustle culture of like, and even other businesses that I followed, that I saw the founders starting to be like, I used to post a photo of me up working at like 11 p.m. and think it was like something to be proud of, like still working. Whereas now, like, we're switching over and it's becoming normalized. And I'm like, okay, this is more me. Like, yeah, I don't know if that actually would have suited me to be that kind of, I don't think I want to work 12 hours a day.
Yeah. I don't think the hustle is for me.
No, but it's like there is a space to have both, like to be someone who runs a business and is ambitious, but also wants to have kind of like that soft life and have, you know, like
Yes.
that's like actually what I'm trying to figure out right now. Cause I love both.
Yeah.
Like I do want to work on this business and be successful, but I also want to have those long moments. I want to have those hour-long everything showers. Like,
yes, 100%.
I don't want to have to sacrifice those self-care rituals. So it's like an interesting pocket to be in of like, okay, I'm trying to push this message out with this product to support self-care, but I'm also trying to run this business and find that middle ground.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when that's your messaging of like, take care of yourself and slow down and take care of your body, your mind, your soul. But then inevitably in business, of course, you do have to work hard. It's just, what does working hard really look like? Is it pushing yourself to the edge and wearing yourself down? Or is it just taking intentional action towards creating your dreams, your goals, your products?
Mm-hmm.
I've been learning a lot about the concept of that you have to slow down to speed up. And I feel like that is relatable here, where for the message for so long was that, like you said, you had to hustle, no sleep, up early, up late, working on your goals, you know, time to eat or see friends or do anything to take care of yourself. And leaning into, I feel like, and I don't know if it's because we pay attention to these areas that it is becoming more normalized. I'm like, does everyone feel like this is becoming more normalized? But I do feel like the concept of slowing down to speed up is being more widely spread. But I too have to catch myself and be like, okay, like you don't have to fill every free moment with something productive. You will reach success even if you take some time for yourself.
And how productive or resting is so productive.
Yes. Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I've thought that too. And like switching that mindset between, okay, let me just push to get everything I need to get done today. Or do I call it a day, rest and come back tomorrow and probably be more productive and do a better job than I would have done today if I had just pushed myself.
100%.
But it is like such a constant reminder.
It is.
You know, and that's like having to be your own, like that own little voice in your head that's like the one who's trying to push you, but also the one who's trying to tell you it's okay to rest.
Yes.
You know?
Angel and devil on your shoulder. You're constantly consulting with them.
But one thing that I have been doing that I actually love this. So I definitely want to share this because it's been a game changer for me. And I think I heard it on another podcast, but essentially it's, when you go to bed at night and you're laying there, like right before you fall asleep, you go through these, little prompts in your head. And I believe the acronym is that, what is it? Like the acronym to remember it is, game. Hold on. So G is for gratitude. So you're laying there and you just think about everything you're grateful for. I'll just go through. It could be big, small. I'm so grateful that I'm laying in this comfy bed, or I'm so grateful for my friend, spouse, pet, family, whatever. You just kind of run through a little list. And then A is for affirmations.
Okay.
So I'll do a few affirmations. Like even if it's something that's immediate, like I am rested, I am going to have a great sleep. I am whatever it is that I'm needing in that exact moment. So it's G for gratitude, A for affirmations, M for manifest.
Ooh,
so then
love it.
I will just kind of, even if it's again, big or small. So sometimes I'll just manifest, how do I want the next day to look? I'm going to wake up and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to feel this certain way. Or if it's bigger than that, I'm like, oh, this is what my life is going to be like in 5 years. It's just like a quick little manifestation session. And then E is envision. So you kind of just picture all that in your head. And so, yeah, I guess it's only GAME. So it's game.
I love that.
But it's just like, it can take you as long as you want. It can be 2 minutes. It can be half an hour. And I found that will literally take me into my sleep, but it just puts me in the best mindset.
Yeah.
And doing that practice every night truly made a difference.
That I am stunned. I'm like, I've never heard of that, but I love that idea. And I'm definitely going to try practicing that because it makes so much sense too, because whatever, I'm blanking on what it's called, but the state you're in right before sleep, they say that's when you should be doing your affirmations or your manifesting visualization, free sleep meditations, because that is the most optimal brain state to make change in your life. So that makes so much sense. And I love that so much. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, I can't remember where I did hear another podcast. So shout out to whoever said that, because I can't take credit. But
Well, thank you for sharing it, because I think, and like you said, you can make that so quick or long. And I know for myself, I think I've shared previously, like sleep has been a little bit of a challenge since coming off of medication. And that sounds like something that could get you out of your head, like get you out of your racing thoughts and into a state where, and if you start with gratitude, that immediately shifts you from whatever spiraling thoughts or thoughts that are keeping you from sleeping. I love
yeah,
that.
that's a good point. I think that's what it is, because it also gives you a direction for your thoughts, because you're not sitting thinking, what do I have to do tomorrow? Or
Yeah.
you're like, okay, these are the steps I'm going through. It gives you a direction, a positive direction for your thinking.
We love that.
And sometimes I'll even drift off to sleep like mid one of those steps, which is, yeah, I'll wake up the next morning and I'll be like, oh yeah, what was I like thinking about right before sleep? And I can fall asleep like halfway through the process, or sometimes I do the whole thing. And
cool.
it's just a really nice transition into
I love
sleep.
that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
That's going to be helpful to a lot of people.
I hope so, because I remember hearing it and just practicing it ever since. And it was like one of those tips that just stayed with me.
Yeah.
And it has made a huge difference.
That's so cool. I love that, because it's just using your own mind. And that's all you need.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I'll share one more, because this is another one. And this is especially if I've had a really hard day or I'm just in a really not good space. Before the gratitude, I will actually do inhale. I'll do inhale, outhale, but I will outhale.
You know what? It makes sense if you think about it.
Inhale, exhale, and I will picture. So whatever I am inhaling is whatever I need in that moment. So let's say I'm feeling stress and I need peace. I'll go inhale peace, and I'll like literally picture like whatever in my mind peace looks like, which it seems to be some sort of a like yellow light that's entering me. I'll go inhale peace, exhale stress, and I'll picture like whatever in my mind the stress looks like, usually like some sort of a darker color of light, like exiting my body. And I'll do that just until I come to a calmer space. And so you can change out the words for whatever is
Totally
appropriate for you in that moment, you know? So inhale peace, exhale stress. And I'll just say that to myself over and over. And that also always helps bring me to some sort of a more peaceful mindset.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into my game practice.
I love that so much. I can relate to that. I usually visualize gray, like light exiting on the exhale. And I just want to point out, I love that yellow is your inhale for peace, because yellow is the Ballia brand color.
Oh my God.
I love that. So
True.
But I have been doing that on this trip. Even, I don't think I mentioned, but we're here for one of our best friends' weddings. And so we've been living our best lives all week. But there is times where I find that I need to clear my energy when I get back to the room. So I'll go in the shower. I'll do something similar, like breathing in, breathing out, or some box breathing, some alternate nostril breathing. But the visualization part, I find, just is the cherry on top, because it's just crazy to me how when you're visualizing either peace or calm or vitality, whatever you need to visualize and feel, just choosing a color. And it's like, to me, the energy is so much more powerful than just simply doing a breathing practice. And I have been doing that like every night when I come up to the room. And I'm like, okay, I'll try and visualize releasing all energy of foreign, negative, or stagnant energy I've picked up from people, places, or things throughout the day. That usually for me, it's a white light. I think it's just, in my mind, spirit. And then gray on the exhale, and then call my energy back to myself. And that's usually what I do before bed, in the shower, or laying in bed. So it sounds kind of similar.
Yeah.
But it's just a really simple tip that anyone can do at any place, anytime. Even if you're out in public and you just need to calm or ground yourself. No one's going to know.
That's so true. Yeah. It's something that you can do completely incognito.
Yeah. Yes, yes. On the dance floor.
That's so funny. I was wondering, I was like, I wonder if her light that she pictures is purple.
Oh my gosh. That would make sense. Yeah, I don't know why. I usually will do white or gold. Gold is like very warming to me.
Mm-hmm.
But white, I find if I'm trying to clear and cleanse my energy, I'll visualize a white shield of light around me. And I just feel like, again, as a highly sensitive person, like I'm picking up on everything throughout the day and night. And no matter if you're having a blast and you feel fine, it's not that I feel anxious. I just feel that ever since I started having a practice of cleansing and calling my own energy back to myself before sleeping, you almost just wake up in a more clear, grounded state.
I really like that piece, calling my energy back.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I saw this woman, and she is an energy healer, a psychic. She says she doesn't even really know what to call herself because she uses a lot of different intuitive modalities for healing. But she suggested to me about almost a year ago that whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, to call your energy home to yourself. Because I was telling her I would always do my visualization of cleansing my energy, but she was like, you want to also call your energy back to yourself. Like, and she suggested tapping on the side of your thigh while you do it. Because as soon as you're tapping, it just works your brain and your body to link together and become grounded and literally rewire your mindset. So she'll say, just tap on the side of your thigh and say, I, Erin, call my energy back home to myself. And ever since she told me that, I've been doing it and it works for me. So
I like that.
yeah.
And tapping is real.
Yes.
I remember hearing my mom who originally told me about it. And I remember thinking like, this sounds strange. Yeah. And I remember hearing about it and thinking, just not really thinking it sounded like it was going to work for me, which I feel like a lot of self-care things, people probably think that.
Yes. A lot of holistic health sounds like whack or woo woo. A lot of people will call it, or too good to be true because it sounds easy, but
yeah, no, that's so true. And I remember being in having a really hard time on a very specific day. And I just tried it because I thought, well, let's just see what, like, you know, you get to
the
that
worst
point
it can happen.
and you're like, I just want to feel better right now. Like, what is going to help me? And yeah, I just was tapping, and I think it was my chest where I was doing it, which I'm not super knowledgeable about. Like, I think you're a little
The
know more
vagus
about
nerve, the chest is the best one because it stimulates your nervous system. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And it was almost honestly like instant,
Yeah.
like relief. It was, so I was like, okay, this is it. Yeah, I'm behind it.
Totally. And when you really actually, because of course, when you hear that just tapping on your body in random spots is going to change your state of mind, health, all the things, it does sound a little woo woo. But when then you try it and you see for yourself, most things in the holistic health and wellness area, I'm like, just try it for yourself. You'll see. But it is funny. Like, I've been on trips with the girls before, and I remember our friend Jade, she was like, I heard you beating yourself in the shower. You should try it. Like, tapping on my chest with my Tarzan fist.
That's so funny. Oh, it's such
like humming. Like, actually, just take it for a spin and see what happens. But it really does make sense when you learn about it because it's releasing energy. There's one creator on Instagram, and I am blanking on his name, but he often shares like simple energy practices. And he says, like, just literally take your fist and tap all over your body to get your energy stimulated and running the way you need it to run. So now I will just literally take my fist and like tap up my legs, back of my legs, my back, my arms, my chest.
If you're watching, we're literally just
if you're on YouTube, we're ourselves. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I would love to talk about the natural ingredients.
I want to make sure we hit on that.
Yeah, because I mean, and I think that's something that is just a personal preference as well.
Yeah.
Like, I just, probably because I've always grown up like that. Like, a lot of, you know, everything was and my mom just happened to make everything from scratch. And so even like those things that always resonated with me, that like you could pretty much, I mean, in my opinion, use natural products for almost anything. And so when we were creating this, that was so important to me, because even now, I think now we're just finding out so much that it's like everything is, now we're very thoughtful about what we are putting on our bodies, in our bodies.
Yes.
And so again, going back to the very beginning of like, what are we going to create and bring into the world? I was like, I want to create and bring something into the world that is natural, from the earth, and works.
Yeah.
Like that was important too. Like I want it to be effective, natural and effective, because that's another thing. I think when you're diving into like the natural product realm, there's a lot of amazing products, but sometimes you have to like try a few before you find one that works for you. And so, when we were creating it, that was one of the top things at the top of my mind, was like natural, all naturally derived. We wanted the packaging to be recyclable, like every aspect of it. I wanted to, again, bring something into the world that I was very thoughtful about. And so from the packaging to the product, we wanted to make sure the packaging was recyclable, and that when we created it, it was made up of 100% naturally derived ingredients.
Yeah.
So, and that was actually such a cool moment, because when we did end up formulating it, we worked with someone who specialized in that. And he was such a wealth of information. Like we literally gave him the note that I referred to that was 100 miles long. And we were like, this is like everything we want in here. And he was like so good with helping us kind of be like, okay, well, these would go the best together. And like, you don't necessarily need this if you have this. And so he was like also a very instrumental key piece of this.
That he specialized in it. Like that's such a perfect fit.
It was. And the way that so I think when you are on a path that you are supposed to be on, it's almost like a snowball effect. Like something starts and then things just start working and rolling you in the right direction. Yeah. And that's what it was with this, because when I actually got connected with the chemist who helped us formulate it through a complete stranger. But it was one of those like moments where it just seemed meant to be. I don't know if I've told you this story.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I was getting my hair done, and it was not someone that I had seen before, because the girl that I usually go to was on maternity leave, I believe.
Okay.
So it was a random matchup, and I'm sitting there and she's doing my hair, and there was kind of nothing that we had in common to like chat about. So there was kind of like
awkward silence.
Awkward silence. And then I'm like racking my brain. I'm trying to think like, oh, what can we chat about? And she pulls out some hair products and she goes, oh, do you mind if I use these? These are mine. I actually make them. I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Like I'm also in the process of trying to make a skincare product. And so we kind of went off on that and chatting about it. And I thought, maybe she will like help me, because I think me and Raymar at the time thought that to make a product, you order all the ingredients and you go into your kitchen and you just start combining things until
I'm sure that's one way. We might still be waiting for it.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. That is one way to do it. And that's what we were going to do. I think we had actually ordered like bulk oils and things to start doing that. And by the process of like, we were waiting for those oils to arrive, I had gone to this hair appointment, and she just happened to be so like open with all of, and that I appreciated, because I feel like a lot of the times in the industry, people will maybe want to gatekeep that type of information.
Yeah.
And she was so sweet and so open. And she was like, this is where I went. This is who I talked to. She's like, would you like his number? And I was like, thank you. Like, that's amazing. And also did not know that you would hire a chemist to do that. Like that.
Yeah. I'm learning a lot right now.
So she said, I went to this chemist. I told him what I wanted it to look like, smell like, do, ingredients. And then he basically takes that, works on the formula for you. You get a sample made, you try out the sample, and then make iterations from there. Okay. So she gave us his information, and I remember thinking too, like, okay, well, that's cool. Now I know we need a chemist. We'll look around for chemists. We actually ended up talking to maybe like three to five different people, and ended up going with the original guy that she had connected us with. And so like, it was just, such a cool moment. Like, what were the chances?
That's such divine timing, I feel like divine intervention. Right. You didn't usually go to her. you randomly had her do your hair that one day, and that came up in conversation even.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still tried to find your own chemist and came back to that one. Like, it was just meant to be.
It really was. And so shout out to her because she is such a important character in our story.
Oh, have you seen her since?
I have not. No. It was, I'll have to try and find out if I can. It'd be really cool to actually go see her and bring her a bottle.
Yes.
And like tell her you were such a important piece of this puzzle.
It'd be so special.
That would be. I have to do that. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of all that. And so we really that's how we got the ball rolling. But I knew from the beginning that I wanted it to be all natural. And that was. And I'm kind of on a hunt now for like switching over all my products.
Yes, me too. And I, like you said earlier, I feel like such a large majority of the population it's like every day we're learning more about even the smallest things and the bad things that are in them that we're using, even down to microplastics and drinking out of a plastic bottle and all of the different products. And I just have to say, I know in my experience with a lot of natural products, usually a lot of the time, again, in my experience, you might be giving up one aspect of, okay, maybe this product smells a little funky, or maybe this product, I don't love the texture, but it's all natural. Like, you're usually giving up one aspect. You guys have to try this oil. It smells divine. It relaxes you. Like, the scent is just so relaxing. It is not even the slightest bit sticky. Like, it goes on so smooth. It doesn't leave your skin sticky or oily. Like, in just every way, you're not giving up anything with this oil.
That means so much. That means so much to hear that, honestly, because I think also me and Ray, we had tried out a few. So we sent it back for a few iterations and I was like, well, I love it, but we've been working on this for 3 years. I'm so deep into this. Like, what if like no one else has tried it? And so it's amazing to get that feedback because we know we love it and we worked so hard on it, but to like hear that, it means so much, genuinely.
Well, it's so true. And it's not just me. You can go on their Instagram or their website and read all the reviews. And you will see that you need to buy it. And I love the box. We have it here. And it just has like a nice texture to it. And I'm obsessed.
Also, the bottle, I wanted the bottle to be so pretty. Like, that was another thing.
Yes.
I was like, I want this to be like a display piece.
Yeah, you want it out on your counter or in your cabinet or wherever you're putting it.
And also like such a funny evolution because this was made for such a specific reason, like for ingrown hairs, red bumps, razor burn, but you can really use it anywhere.
Yes.
Like, I don't remember who was the first person. It might have been you who was like, I've been using it on my face. And I was like,
I remember telling you that I like to gua sha with it on my face. And then I started moving towards like my armpits. I'll put it even in my hair. I've done
really
like the ends of my hair. Because I figure, like you said, it's natural, it's oils, it's not going to do any harm.
No, really, it's not. And like I think what makes it, like you said, so not sticky or oily or heavy is the jojoba oil, because it's essentially, it's very close to our natural skin oils. So that's why it doesn't like stay on top, but it just absorbs so quickly, I find, which is another thing I love about it, because I will put it on my face and you can wake up and it's not like there's nothing there. Like, it just nicely absorbs in.
Yes.
And so another thing that, I mean, why this works so well is because this blew my mind. But I think there's a lot of, I've seen recently a lot of people are like, well, what order are you supposed to put things on? Like, especially your body oil. The oil is always the last step because if you think about oil and water, oil, they repel each other.
Yeah.
So when you're putting the oil on, especially after a shower, it is going to keep that moisture that is already there inside your body. And so the water is actually like hydrating your skin, but the oil is on top, keeping that hydration inside.
Oh my gosh.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense. I would have never thought of it that way, but it makes sense when you explain it.
Yeah. So if you essentially put this on right after your shower, I do it after every single shower. So I know a lot of people will do it only when they shave, but I actually do it every single shower because it just kind of keeps that skin soft and moisturized and then allows the hairs to come back. And that's what prevents the ingrown hairs.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the best if you put it on right after you shower. So you're still a little bit damp and then it's going to keep all of that water and moisture in your skin.
Okay, that makes so much sense. Running your business with your husband, as we've spoken very highly of Ray, but as we should, because he's the best. But I'm interested in if along the way you have any like specific, again, ebbs or flows of that dynamic as you work together, you're married, you obviously live together, you co-parent your fur babies.
Shout out Mello and Mila.
Shout out to the babies. But that is a lot of time together and a lot of your life spent together. So I'm curious if there's anything or any tips you might have for a couple that would like to go into business that you found has helped you to balance those dynamics and keep a healthy balance.
Totally. And it's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think so. Definitely, before we started the business, I would listen to other podcasts of people who were either in business with partners or solo. And a lot of them kind of said, as long as you have someone that mirrors, or not mirrors, but is the opposite of what your strengths are, that's when it really works the best. And that is exactly us. And I think that's why we can do it, because everything that I like to do and enjoy doing, it's like his worst, like he's like, I would rather never do that if I don't have to.
Yes, yeah.
And like it's the opposite. So everything that he is talented at and like brings to the table are things that I would rather not do.
That is so perfect.
I think that's why the balance works for us. But I think also like we just had that from the beginning. Like we actually started another business before this one to raise awareness for like dogs, pit bulls, bully breeds.
Yes, I had one of your shirts.
Yes.
Yes. Paws.
Pitties and paws.
Yes. Okay. I forgot. I wanted to mention that because I'm like, I remember your entrepreneurial journey started even before this.
It did. Yeah. And so I think that was like the spark of we both knew like, oh, we both are interested in business. And also like there was some sort of deep rooted trust that we knew we could start a business together when, again, we weren't even engaged yet.
Yeah.
But I think, if you don't have that like balance, then it is going to be really difficult because not only are you running a business is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to have a partner, you definitely want someone who is at least going to bring things to the table that you don't already have. Or because as a business owner, you end up kind of doing everything at the beginning, right? And to have someone to like help lift is so incredibly helpful. But if we were kind of running to the situation where like we both want to do social media, then it would be like, well, who's going to be doing all these other things?
Yeah.
And we are back again.
And we're back. We had to do a little reset.
Yes. You know what? It's actually hilarious. I think what a genuine moment to flow into that topic though about perfectionism.
Yes. Summer and I relate as being, we would like to say recovering perfectionists, which I talked a lot about in our past episode about perfectionism and why self-compassion is the answer. And we just had to take a little break for a stretch and a little breathing session because it has been a week in Cancun and we feel like our brain cells are not fully firing right now. And you might hear in our voices that they're a tad raspy. And so we just had to get up and reset ourselves so that we can continue speaking. And that is, like you said, a prime example of just trying to let go of this idea of that everything is going to go perfectly because perfection does not exist. And I think embracing these moments kind of helps. It's like
it really does. And having that support of a friend to be on the same wavelength of like, we are going to take a moment and that's okay.
Yes.
And we can be honest about it.
Yes. We don't have to hide.
So we were sitting here having a great chat and we both, I think, just made the eye contact that we just needed a second.
Yes.
And we took it.
We took it.
And we are back.
As we should, but we are back.
And I think that literally goes into what were we saying a bit earlier too about when you need to just be honest with yourself and call it a day, take a break, and then come back better.
Yes, exactly. Instead of push through and then maybe we'd get listening back to this and be like, wow, we should have just taken a breather there.
So, yeah. I'm glad that we did.
Yes, me too.
But I would like to just touch back on that topic about working together.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
I feel like I am so grateful for Ray because he also has been my biggest supporter. And that is what I want to say is that having a business partner is amazing for the support of like the workload, but having your husband be your business partner is just a different, I feel like it's just a different thing in itself because he is not only my business partner, but he's my biggest supporter.
Yes.
So on those days when it's really hard and you kind of are maybe questioning yourself or, you know, what am I doing? Am I on the right path? This is really hard. You have that person in your corner who like truly believes in you and wants you to succeed. And that is kind of what keeps me going. Yeah. Like knowing that he has all this faith in me to like be his business partner is kind of what pushes me and keeps me going on those days when it's really hard.
So much sense. And I can attest, Ray is Summer's biggest supporter. Since day one, literally since day one, the whole friend group, we are just amazed at how supportive he is. We often call him the proud father, although that might sound a little twisted since they're married. But he is just so not only supportive, but proud of you. And he just has 100% faith in everything you do. And it is really cool to see.
It's amazing. I'm so grateful for him. He is truly, he's amazing. And I don't know if I would be here, like, you know, if I would have gotten to this point without him. So I feel like I'm very grateful that he supports me and that he sees this vision for us too. Because I think that's another very important thing is a shared vision. If you are going to embark on any type of business journey with someone, you need to be aligned in like your vision of where the business is going. Yeah. And that's something we've also shared. So like having that joint vision and knowing that like every day when we're getting up, we're working on this together, we're building something for our future is also like definitely kept us going in those moments that are really hard. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can do it with your partner, it's amazing. But it is, I won't lie, I'll be honest, like there are really hard days too. Totally. There's times where we maybe don't agree on something and it's tough to separate the business from the relationship side. And so it works somehow, we're doing it, but I'm not going to pretend that we're perfect. Yeah. And that we don't have hard days. But yeah, I think we're just committed to each other and to the business succeeding. And so, you know, those days where it is hard, we just kind of have to take a step back and be like, this is not, at the end of the day, it's not the most important thing in the world. Like us is the most important thing in the world, you know? So like separating that when we need to, is also something we are learning and working on every single day. Yeah. And I feel like you are just figuring it out as you go. And you both seem very aware too, and aware of the fact that you want to put your relationship first and that business isn't everything, but you're going to figure it out. And yeah, it might be a little difficult to transition from maybe a business disagreement into, okay, what's for dinner tonight? But maybe you don't get dinner tonight. There are some ways, no. But I also love, like, Summer and Ray live in Dallas, Texas, which we love, but is not in the same country as us. So it's also sad. But I love to see that you guys make sure to have date nights. Like, you make sure to have your you time still. Because I'm sure it can get so easy to just turn into, like, roommate business partners if you aren't conscious of it. Which it seems like you're pretty good at keeping the relationship part important. Yes, we really do try to be intentional about that. And it's a learning process, like learning how each of you works as well. Like, you know, when you have your love languages, I feel like there's also like, we're learning our work languages. Yes. And so for me, I like to have things scheduled. This is my to-do list. You know, let's make a meeting to make our to-do list. For a meeting. And he is more in the moment. So like, what do I need to do right now? I'm doing it and then I'm moving to the next thing. He's not really like a planner type person. So that's been interesting for us to navigate. So now we kind of actually have every day at the end of the day, we go on a walk with our dogs, with our 2 dogs. And that has been kind of our time to almost like have our meeting for the day. So it's kind of like a combined, like we're spending time together. We're going over our, you know, what do we need to do tomorrow? What happened today? Kind of like recap of the day time.
Yeah, and getting outside to like break up, okay, that was the work day. Now we're shifting into the evening part. Or
Yes. And that is another thing that has been sort of a funny challenge to overcome is that I'm also the type of person that like once I've wound down for the day, I'm like my brain's done thinking of work things. Like I'm in bed, the lights are low, I have my book.
Yes.
And Ray is more the type where like, oh, it's, 11 p.m. I just thought of something. Let me pop in here and tell you what we need to work on tomorrow. And I'm like, can you write it down and tell me in the morning?
Yeah. 9 to 5, please. My 9 to 5 hours.
So that's something that he's actually like learning that about me, and he's making adjustments, which is really nice.
Aww.
But yeah, to not like extend work talk like into all hours of the evening, and it's going to happen. Like you can't turn it off, and like you do need to talk about it, and we are together. So it's going to happen. But like learning those boundaries too has been interesting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense that would just be something you have to be conscious of, because it could just naturally flow into all environments and hours of the day and night.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you guys are killing it, honestly, and learning along the way.
Thank you.
And the fact that you both even want to be conscious of each other's like work languages is probably the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something that is a constant learning process. Yeah. But I know I do have to give us credit because we live together, we work together, we both work from home. Mm-hmm. So we are home literally 24/7 together.
Yeah. So let me tell you, not everyone could do it. Not everyone could do it.
I don't think much is going to break us up at this point.
But we could test the waters. Okay. So when it comes to managing, I guess more so being the face of the brand and managing your social media, your social presence, your messaging, even the product descriptions and things like that. Are there tips or certain tools or even just mantras, lessons that you've found helpful to allow you to keep taking steps and taking action and putting stuff out there and maybe just seeing how it's received so that you don't get stuck just conceptualizing, thinking of, working on, but waiting for it to be perfect? Like, have you ran into that struggle at all? And is there anything that you found helpful to just allow you to take action and put things out there and create?
So yeah, that is a constant battle as well. And I think honestly, I've learned so much from others, other business owners that I've listened to on podcasts or followed, and everyone says, the similar things. And once you're in it, you're like, okay, these things are also true. Like you are never going to feel like it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And so if you don't do it, it's never going to get out there, and you're never going to get to where it is going to be, if this makes sense. So I heard someone say this, and this helped me a lot. It was like your first, whatever you put out there, your first photo, your first product is never going to be the one that you end up with. Yeah. So like put it out there because it is always going to evolve. Mm-hmm. And so you have to put it out there so that you can get to where you're going, the one you're going to have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So that's encouraging, because if you don't take the steps, you're never going to get to that point you want to get to.
Basically, yeah. So like when we launched this product, like we took so much time and so much care into it, but I also was with the mindset, like 10 years, this might look totally different. Totally. Like we might have a different bottle, different description. And so we have to put it out there and be okay with where it is today, knowing that we did our best. Yeah. Yeah. Like obviously the product itself, the oil, that's never going to change. But I think you get stuck with like the more physical aspects of it. Totally. And like that, it's like, okay, this is actually superficial. It's in my head. It's my ego telling me and kind of trying to hold me back. Yeah. But I know I worked hard on this. I know it's beautiful. And you have to kind of like remind yourself of that. And like, even if you feel like you're kind of like not faking it, but you're like, I am kind of going a little overboard on complimenting myself, but you kind of have to like push yourself to do that because it is true, but our ego is just kind of holding us back, telling us that it's not.
Yes, it's totally the ego that just wants to keep you safe, and it perceives doing anything different as being unsafe. But you know that you have to take the action, and that honestly, it's probably better than your ego's trying to tell you.
Yeah, and you know what? Also the thought of like, once you put it out there, if you don't like it, you can always take it back.
Yes, taking the pressure off.
Yes.
The pressure off of, again, like I think we mentioned earlier, the black and white of, okay, if I put this out there, it's out there forever and this is what it is. It's like, no, there's actually so many options. You can change what you're doing. You can pivot. You can take it away. You can, like, think of every successful brand now. I know in the marketing world, I'll see so many examples of big, huge, successful brands and all the examples of what they were up until this point and what they looked like and what their messaging was and their packaging and their, like, even their websites, like, everything evolves.
Yes. And a brand is a growing, evolving being. It's almost like a person. And that's what's interesting is because so I actually went to school for business originally. And one of the things that they talk about is like your brand persona or personality.
Yes.
And so when we were like mapping out what I wanted Ballia to look like, I actually had a board where I like had like personality traits.
Yes.
Of like what, like what is, if this was a living, breathing person. And like people change and evolve and grow.
Yes.
And I feel like the brand is going to change and evolve and grow as we do as people. And so I think being open to that, just being open to like things should grow and things should change.
Yes.
And so it's kind of beautiful to look back and be like, this is where we started and this is where we are.
It totally is. And there's so much power in seeing something grow. I know that's something I've learned in like research about perfectionism is people actually love to see a growth story. Like they love to be able to go back and see where you were and see where you're at now. Whereas it feels inauthentic, or it almost feels like something's wrong or off or not true. If something seems 1000% perfect and like it's been the same forever, you're like, what's going on here? Like, where's the lie?
And like these, I know, and these probably sound like such cliches, but they're just true. You can't compare your day one or year one to someone else's day 50, year 50.
It's so true.
Like, I think when we just, as recovering perfectionists, hold ourselves to such a high standard that we are looking at the best. And thinking that that's where we have to be. But it's like, that is not where they started. And you can't expect yourself to start there either. Like be open to the potential that you are going to get there one day. But if you don't start here, you're not ever going to get there.
1000%. And I thought it was so interesting. Brene Brown, she has a line in her research about perfectionism that they found that perfectionism, and it sounds so backwards, but it's actually the biggest block to mastery or like mastering anything, because it's actually just holding you back from taking the steps that will eventually get you closer to mastering something or getting to the point you want to be at. When you hear perfectionism, you think, oh, I just have really high standards, so that is mastery. Like I want to master something, but it's like you're actually completely holding yourself back. It's crazy.
So true. And you know what? Actually, this is very applicable. I also dance. I take dance classes, and that is so applicable for there too, because you can totally hold yourself back from ever getting to that mastery if you're not willing to do the mess in the middle. Like if you aren't going, so essentially for dance, it's like when you're learning the dance, sometimes you're kind of not going full out. And then when you go to perform it, you're for the first time going full out and you completely mess it up. Because you weren't willing in the middle to like look silly, trying to go all out before you've gotten it yet.
That makes so much sense.
And so, I find that that's very applicable.
Totally.
So dance has definitely taught me a lot as well about confidence and about putting something out there that may look a little messy, but it's what those moments are what gets you to your final, that thing that now everyone else is going to look at you and say, oh, well, they're perfect. Now I have to get to that level. But like, if you're willing to show the mess in the middle, I think it's also encouraging to others that like they can be messy too.
And that's how it happens. Summer's an amazing dancer. I also think it's like you're saying, it's interesting how I think practicing pushing through perfectionism in any area of life, whether it's business, dance, creating, like anything, will also help you to push through in other areas. So you practicing that in dance probably helps you to then be able to push through in business, because you're just getting that more and more and more of that experience of exercising the muscle of just doing it.
So true.
Yeah.
That is so true, actually. It is a muscle.
Yeah.
It is a muscle. And that's why, like, I love that you talk about how, like, it's never like recovering perfectionism. You're never like recovered. You're recovering because it is a practice. And yeah, it's like something that you continuously have to do, like a muscle. You just have to keep working on it. And it does get easier. And I also hear so many business owners say the same thing, is that like, I truly started to succeed when I stopped giving a shit.
Yes.
About what anyone thinks.
1000%. It's so true. A business coach that I'm in a group coaching, mindset, money, mentorship program. That's her biggest thing. And she's very successful, but she says, she's like, it's when I literally just started being so authentic and not trying to over curate or give a shit what anyone else thinks or what anyone else is doing and trying to be them, is when all the success started coming through. But it's funny how your instinct is the opposite.
Yeah.
That you have to try so hard and like mask and curate yourself so hard, but it's really the opposite.
Yeah. And it's too hard. You can't keep that up.
No, you burn out.
Yeah. You just really can't.
There.
It's like, you know, that saying that it's like the long way is actually the shortcut or something like that, where it's like, it seems harder to be authentic, but actually in the long run, like that is going to connect you with the people who are supposed to be there in your life,
1000%.
the community that you actually want to build with your business, the customers that you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
That is the path to directly get you there, but it just feels so much harder. So it's, like you said, safer to protect yourself by putting up that other front.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny, I think as you're saying, like, these sound like cliches. I've realized the cliches are cliches for a reason, because they're true. I used to hear so many of these things and be like, oh, cringe, but it's a cliche because someone figured out along the way that it's true.
That's so true. And I feel like that a lot with like our messaging sometimes, because it's so like, you know, self-love and like taking care of you is productive. And and like sometimes you're like, how can I say this in a fresher way? But you're right. It's just, it is the truth.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why it's a cliche. And that's why it's so said, because that's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to point that out because I'm like, I know past versions of me would hear some of these things and have that like almost pessimistic outlook, but like everything in the realm of holistic, natural care, self-love, self-care, we're talking about it because we know that it does in fact make a difference and a positive impact. So yeah. Okay. So the future of Ballia. Do you have a vision? I'm sure you do. I know you do. But are there next steps for future products that you want to create, or what is the vision there?
Yes. So the note that I referenced.
Yes.
She's still rocking with tons of ideas. And we have to kind of constantly remind ourselves to like, you know, we're going to get there. But right now we are working on our mini bottles.
Yeah.
So excited about that. So those are in the process. We have our mini bottles in the works, and we do have another product that is coming shortly. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say.
Ooh, I love a teaser.
It's something that we have been working on for actually a really long time, but it just that's another learning lesson. Things just take a really long time and that's okay.
That's okay.
So that I'm excited, but I'm not going to say too much about that because it is still in the works, but we have that coming and we have the mini bottles, and we're also really working on partnering with estheticians at the moment. So we are also working on getting like a larger size to work with those estheticians.
Okay.
And really foster those relationships, which I love doing that.
Yeah, that's fun because you just create more connection.
Yeah, it's cool to hear that feedback because they are the ones in the trenches.
They sure are.
Really seeing the product at work. And so to hear feedback from them is actually like the coolest thing.
It's really cool.
Yeah. To be like, oh, I'm loving it. Like I want more. And right now we only have these bottles. So that's kind of been a struggle. So yeah, we're working on the smaller sizes, the bigger sizes, and our mystery product that is going to be coming soon. Yeah, and really just like trying to grow our community. I think that's like our biggest thing right now is like reaching out, finding our people, telling them about us.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now.
I'm so excited. So you guys are going to just have to follow to find out the future mystery product.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's going to be worth the wait. I'm so excited.
Me too.
So do you want to tell us your social channels where we can find you?
Yes. So you can find us at Shop Ballia on Instagram and TikTok. And then our website, www.shopballia.com. Go check us out. And if you want to try a bottle, maybe I'll throw out a little discount code.
Ooh, a special Ebbs and Flows discount code.
Yes, let's do Ebbs and Flows 20.
This is so exciting.
And yeah, we'll do a little 20% off for anyone who wants to try. And yeah, if you have any questions, also like come in the DMs. It's me back there. Me and the team.
Yeah. The team. It's me.
I would just love to chat. And I always love to hear people's like self-care practices. So if you have anything that you absolutely love, share with me because I'm always trying to expand my little secret toolbox of self-care practices. So
I love that. And yeah, I relate. I feel like in every episode, I'm like, send me a DM. But I love to hear, like you said, from other people because you think you've heard everything and there's always more to learn and know.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, I can't believe you're giving a discount code. That's so exciting. You guys, you have to try a bottle. Again, I promise I'm genuinely speaking about the fact that this is my favorite skincare product. You will not be disappointed. And if for some wild reason you are, you can blame me.
We do believe in our products so much, so we offer a full refund if you are not loving it.
Well, see, there's no reason not to try.
And it's at a very reasonable price point. So even better, and you have a discount code, so come on. What are we waiting for? Oh my gosh, okay. Do we have any other self-care, holistic, natural, business-based tips, tools, advice, messages you want to share?
Oh my goodness. I mean, there's so many.
We can definitely do a part 2.
There's so many, but I would say just that it is a journey. So, just a reminder, being the voice in your head when you need to come back to it. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest thing. Like when life is getting a little crazy and you're getting a little too far away from the things that make you happy, those little moments, those little self-care moments, just being the only voice in your head that's telling you it's okay to take a break, come back to it because like we were saying, that's what makes you at your best.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, working on being your own cheerleader, that it's okay to take that time and take those moments and that they are very important and take care of yourself is the most important.
Yeah.
It's not selfish. It is the most important.
Yeah, if you can't take care of you, again, cliche coming in, but you can't take care of others or support and show up for others.
Yes.
It's true. Oh my gosh, okay, I have loved talking to you, my friend Summer. Summer is so special to me. I'm just going to end with a little message about how much I love you because I feel like you're such a grounding force for me. Like no matter what scenario we're in, whether we're out having fun, we're just having our paragraph-long texting conversations or a phone call or with our friends, we're on a trip, whatever it may be, I feel like I can always look to you for a grounding presence. And I really treasure that as we've spoken a lot about anxiety on this podcast as someone who's prone to that. Just your being and your energy always grounds me. And so I'm so grateful for you. And I'm so grateful that you wanted to come on the podcast. And I'm so excited for people to hear more about Ballia because I feel like I just know you're sitting on such a gold mine of not only your product, but the community that you're looking to build. So whoever gets to be a part of that is going to be bettering their life by joining in. And I love you so much, and I'm so excited for the future, and would love to have you back on again.
Thank you. Those words mean so much to me. You don't even know. And it's crazy because as you're speaking, I'm thinking, I feel the exact same way about you. And thank you for this podcast. I'm genuinely a fan. I'm genuinely a fan. I'm a fan of you. And everything that you, like the way that you articulate yourself, it's very, what's the word? I am inspired by you.
Oh my gosh.
And so getting to sit here and like do my first podcast interview with one of my best friends who I'm truly so inspired by is just on a whole other level.
I love you so much for having some exciting firsts here today. And I feel like we're going to remember this forever. I'm going to write about it in my journal. Summer, she called me to compliment me on my podcast, and that truly, like, I had to get up and go find my journal, and I wrote about it, and I was like, I can't believe how blessed I am to have a friend that would, like, take her time to give me a phone call. I know that sounds, like, crazy, but a phone call seems like so much effort for a lot of people. You're not picking up the phone, and that literally just meant so much to me, and I am so excited to just create more adventures and see each other grow in our businesses and in life as people.
Yes, I love that. We've definitely been in Mexico too long, so I was about to say cheers.
Yes, cheers. Cheers tonight. We might go have a celebratory margarita.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So good.
Thank you so much for coming. And everyone, go follow Shop Ballia on Instagram, TikTok. Buy yourself a bottle, and we will have the discount code that Summer is graciously offering our listeners and watchers in the show notes below, also in the description on YouTube, so you can find that. I will link the website, I will link all the social channels, so you will easily be able to follow. And I look forward to talking to you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.